Okay, so we are going to talk about memorizing bills for recurring expenses. And of course, this can be a bill, it can be a check, there's other transactions you can make recurring or other transactions you can memorize in QuickBooks. But this will give you a good example, a good feeling of, memorized transactions. So basically, I'm going to come in, I'm going to enter my bill. Okay, so let's say we have a bill for County of Middlefield. Okay, let's say we pay them, I don't know, $100 a month reoccurring because we have some kind of tax charge or something like that with them, or maybe, I don't know, maybe we even pay them for rent. Okay, so we have our bill in here, and we have to decide, is it going to be an expense or an item? You can use either one. I'm just going to go ahead and choose expense, and I'm going to pretend that this is a rent expense. Okay, $100 for rent would be really nice. Let's be realistic. It's going to be $1,500. Okay, and then I can put in their memo. Now you don't want to put in here memo January rent, right? Because then next time when it's February and it posts, it's still going to post January. So you want to say something more generic, so monthly rent. And I know it's January because it's going to post in January. Okay. Now you can't assign a customer. You can assign a class as well. So maybe we have some overhead. No overhead in here, so I'm just going to stick it to a class. All right, once I have the bill created, if I save this bill, it's going to post it, right? So that means I'm going to post it for today or on 1/1/22, and then I'm going to have a bill to pay. Now, if I don't want to post it yet, I'm just creating this as my template. Instead of saving it, right, you want to hit memorize. Now, you can tell if you've saved it or not, because down here, if you have not saved it, it will say clear. Okay, if you have saved it, it'll say revert. So if it says clear, you're fine, you have not saved it yet. So then I go in, I select memorize, and so why you'd want to memorize these transactions. So rent, as an example, sometimes they don't send you an invoice for that, and you don't want to have to remember or write something down automatically just to remind you to pay your rent. Okay. Another reason why you'd want to memorize it is because you have some reoccurring charges that are happening, and maybe your accounts payable person doesn't know about them or something like that, right? So you want to have them automatically posted. What I've seen people do historically is they'll go in and they'll actually enter in their bill for rent for the January, February, March, April, May. So they'll actually post it. And you can do that, but it kind of skews your accounts payable reports. Sometimes it can skew your open bills reports. So really you don't want to post it until just before it's actually due. So again, that's where memorized transactions will come in. So you give it a name, County of Middlefield rent. You can say add it to my reminders list. You can say don't remind me about this. The reminders list, right, it's just going to pop up and remind you. It's not going to post it. Don't remind me. You'd want to use that if this is a transaction that maybe isn't monthly, but it happens frequently, right? Like you get it every couple of months. You're not sure on the timing of it, something like that. You can have it automatically enter the transaction, which again, if this is a monthly rent, I would have it automatically put in. Or you can add it to a group. And if you have groups through here, the purpose of memorized transaction groups, right, is to, you can watch the other videos on this, but purpose of memorized transaction groups is, let's say we have several monthly bills that we want to post all at once. You can just add it to the group. Okay, so I'm just going to say automate. How often? You can do daily, weekly, every 2 weeks. So I'm going to say monthly on this one, right? It's our monthly rent. The next date that I want it to be billed, I want it to be billed on 1/1/2021. So that date, where that's really important, that's going to be the posting date. All right, so what date do you want the bill to be dated? Like what date should this be? Okay, then you say how many are remaining. So I have a 24-month contract or 24-month lease agreement. So there's 24 in there. And then days in advance to enter. So if I put 0 days in advance, then QuickBooks is going to create this bill on January 1st. Now, a lot of times we like to, know what's coming, right? What bills I have to pay next week. So usually I like to say, put this in, 7 to 10 days in advance. So what that'll happen is 10 days before the 1st, QuickBooks will prompt you and say, hey, do you want to enter your bill for rent? It's still going to be dated January 1st. That's going to be the date of the transaction, but it'll be put into QuickBooks 10 days early. Okay. All right. For reoccurring expenses that are not a fixed amount, so let's say your water bill, your electric bill. So on those, I don't suggest setting them up when you memorize them. I don't suggest automatically entering the transactions in. I say add it to my reminders list, or I say don't remind me or something like that. Okay, because then what you can do is you can go in to your memorized transaction list and just double click on the transaction to post it, right? So here the, company interest, right, is not the same every month. So this month it was $75.36. Then I can go ahead and post it. Okay. All right, so that is memorizing a bill for reoccurring expenses.